doing this live from my phone for YouTube as well. But apparently, I need to have 1,000 followers, and I already like I used to have a channel where I had all that, and now I can't log into it, and it's kind of got like a whole nother following. So I'm trying to sort that out with YouTube. So if we can get 1,000 likes on 1,000 followers on YouTube, that would be great. I just had where did I put that mic? Oh, it's right here. Good. And yesterday I almost broke my computer because I still was plugged into the laptop when I stood up. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I know. My sound quality is key for everybody. I really got to get a new webcam apparently for my laptop. There you go. And we ready to go. Okay. Give me a hello if you're there with me. If you're laughing, if you're not laughing, if you actually came here because you want to hear some embarrassing stories, you put your hand up, and we'll get that rolling. Okay, yeah. All right, we're good. Are you good? Apparently it's good. I hope it's good because if it ain't good, it ain't good. How you doing? Okay. So first story. First off, let me just say that I am excited that you're all here. I was not going to actually do a live stream today, but I got to be consistent and continue on. And I said I was going to do the whole, at least the first 14 days straight of every night something. And so we're here. We're going to make all these funny stories. Mrs. Crisp, you're here. I definitely have an embarrassing story that well, it doesn't involve you, but because you were my neighbors at the time, and you definitely told me something. Yeah, I'll we'll make this happen. So tonight for sure, I'll talk about my kids. I'll talk about some of the stuff when I was dumb and young. I'm still dumb, but I'm not young. And by dumb, I mean I made some hilarious decisions or things just came out about that way. And if you have embarrassing stories, please share them. I would love to read them aloud for other people. And don't take Facebook copies and paste because I've been literally watching everyone's, not everyone, that'd be crazy if I was able to do that. But I've definitely been hearing or reading everyone's kind of fake posts. And like the last one, the guy went to the grocery store and I came back stealing stuff from him. You do that thing. All right. So we're here. Now, so embarrassing stories, number one. Well, actually, yeah, we'll go embarrassing story number one. Then we'll take a little break and whatever. I'll hear some of your stories. So if you have an embarrassing story, start typing it now because I can't see that if you're typing or not typing. And I don't have a guest to kind of go back and see, like, oh, they're thinking, they're in thought. So let them say something. And if you have a question or some other kind of topic, you just want to throw up a hot potato, go ahead, throw a hot potato. I'm not afraid to approach the subject or whatever. And I'll do my best. Okay, embarrassing story number one. So I was wiping my kid's butt, okay? And normal day, like any father, you wipe the butt. They take a poop, do the thing, right? So I do that, and then I kind of go about my day, and I end up at a restaurant. And I order my food, food comes, and there I am, and chatting, and I grab it was a hamburger, and I grab the hamburger, and I take a first bite, and I'm like, man, it's kind of got a strong smell to it, you know, a strong smell to it. And it's like, okay, so I took a second bite, and I'm like, man, like I don't know what I didn't ask for blue cheese or whatever this is, but that's not what I asked for my burger. And you know, like it's not that it was on my burger, but you know, like when things smell like a certain way, they get like into your palate, and you're like you smell it, like goes up into your nose, and like there's like a water kind of a thing that happens there that drops down in the back of your throat, and then you've tasted the smell. So that was what's happening. I'm like, man, like, and then I thought for a second that there was like a child around me or something because it smelled like poop, like legit baby poop. And lo and behold, I look at my fingernails for some reason, and a there is poop in my fingernails, and I have literally just eaten my hamburger while bitten it a couple of times, and I am now smelling the fecal matter from my son in my fingernails. Moral of the story: make sure you wash your hands wherever you go. You don't know what you're going to be eating next. This is my embarrassing stories. I have told some embarrassing stories for the other day for Mr. Goddard, but Mr. Goddard, since I see you there, I'll give you the next embarrassing story. Yes, it comes from the arborist area, and if you don't know what arborist means, it just means you're working with trees, you're cutting them, you know. And by trees, I mean like actual, like well, Not sure if the marijuana plant is actually a tree, but some people refer to that as that. I'm talking like poplar, pine, spruce, oak, those kinds of things. Okay. So we had this like a little bit of a low time, and there was a contract for my boss at the time, and it was to like clear away this like what this wind had done in this like kind of swampy area. And while we were there, like it was really hot, and because it was swampy, we couldn't wear like regular boots. We had to wear like rubber steel toe boots. I don't know if any of you have ever had those like rubber boots. Those rubber steel toe, they don't breathe. Like, and they are the worst things for your feet because they don't breathe. They're just hot. And you also like I'm wearing chainsaw pants, and chainsaw pants are definitely not breathable either because they're there to stop a chainsaw from cutting your leg off. Yeah. So my boss, because he's the boss, so he gets to kind of being the leader, you get the worst view and they get the first view. So you make the choices and we live them out, but you get the first view, which is not the best view always, but you get the first view and you always get the worst view. So you got to clean everything up all the time. But anyways, so my boss said, okay, he sent me with this older gentleman. His name was what was his name? I think his name was John. Was it John? Steve, if you're still there, Steve, can you like type in the guy's name? I mean, John, was it Mr. Jensen? John Jensen, is that right? I think that's what it was. It was John Jensen, and so he was like with me, and we were cutting down like what the wind had blown down. But it was so hot because it was like in the middle of a swamp. It was hot. It's like steam is like, I mean, like it was very humid, and there was no like breathing going on for my legs or my lower section. Okay, so I like at this point I was already in a what we call like a white beater or a muscle rib shirt. I guess I'm not sure what they call those things anymore, but that's what it was, right? And I I gotta tell you, it was so hot, and so eventually I just like I opened up my pockets, like I turned them inside out so there would be like some kind of wind, and I'd always try to find a way to get the wind to come in, and then at some point I just had to like put my fly down. I just pulled my fly down, and I literally was cutting wood with a chainsaw with my fly down because I needed more air circulation. It was like a sauna everywhere. And then Mr. Jensen uh, needlessly said, "Hey, your fly is down." And I said, "I need, I desperately need some air conditioning right now." And I was pretty embarrassed because like I was trying to like kind of hide the fact that I was essentially wearing full cap chaps because like fly was open, pockets were out, and like I had a leather belt on to hold the pants up, but that was about it. And it was really mostly because we need the protection on the front side of the pants from the chainsaw. What a tough day. And we had to go back. That was the worst part. I knew I was going back to that place, and I knew the job was never going to be done because it was like a holdover job until we got another job. Um, but those of you after this whole thing's done, if you have trees, you need to go check out Mr. Stephen Goddard's company if you're in the Eastern Townships area. He does everything from residential to everything, really, as residential to commercial to industrial. He is an arborist. I think it's Agbo Excellent. Steve, if you're there, you want to put that in the comment section, you can go right ahead. I will let that stay. Mr. Merrick Palmer, you are back. Okay, so do we have an embarrassing story from you about me and Mr. Palmer? Because everyone, those who don't know who Merrick Palmer is, again, I told you the other day he was an awesome basketball player, but he was also a great coach. But his wife actually used to do my hair when I needed it to be braided, dreadlocked, whatever. And I know I said some wild things over there while I was growing up, and I'm if you were to ask Lorianne, she would know everything. For those of you who don't know, Lorianne is again, she's the lady who did my hair, and she was just an awesome person in my life. She's one of those people that like I'll never ever forget, just because she was willing to listen and just laugh with me all the way through this. No judge. I'm sure she said certain things when I left, like that fool is crazy, but it is what it is. Okay, so next funny story. Okay, I'm gonna go through those of you that speak French and English but like are English first, you will get this one. Those of you who are French and the Quebecois, you can put your hand up in the air. You can say, yeah, because here comes a French English language translation that didn't go over so well. So I was preaching at a church, already in trouble, I know. And I was like, okay, just trying to make a message happen. It was kind of cool. It was going. It was rolling. Uh, and there it is, your Agbo Excellence, everybody. You can check that out if you need any. They do trees. They do les etiedes, which are hedges. They do planting as well. They planted a nice tree outside of our house, and that is not why I'm giving the plug, because I wasn't sponsored, by that way. I definitely paid for that tree. It was a gift to my wife. It is still there. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Goddard and company. She was pretty surprised. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to work out something for this year. I need to go and do something for her again. That would, mess her up a little bit. And so here I am preaching this message, and it's going well. Everything's going fine, and it was a youth message. Okay, so like I was like, part of my motto is like, I'm a voice for young people and to young people. And so in this case, in this particular era, I was a voice for young people, and I was like preaching in this church, and I mean everybody was zeroing in. It was awesome. Like you always know if someone is locked in because the place is silent, and but you could feel the tension in the room. You could cut that thing with a butter knife, and the thing would just explode. And so I'm zeroing in right now, just coming down to that message. I'm like, you know that all the young people, and my southern drawl started to come out, so I knew it was fire. I was like preaching, yeah. And here we go, right? So I'm driving in. I'm driving the point home, and I'm like, yo, you understand the only thing, the thing that they need from you, the things that the young people need from you as being the older people in the room. And I wanted to be cute, so I switched from English because I had a translator, and I switched over into French, and I wanted to say, all they need is direction. But I just found out that, well, at that time, I found out that you can say a word that you think you're saying, but because you just make it sound French does not mean it's French. Or if you put the intonations in different places, it's not the same thing. So what I said was, all young people need. I stared him down. I thought I said direction, but I said they need our erections. Oh my goodness. Everyone that was in that church looked at me like I was some kind of crazy fool. Who did this pastor bring? But lucky for me, the wife of the pastor is an Anglophone, and she understood the struggle was real. She was laughing so hard. And I was like, what did I just say? I wanted to know. But what I did know was that I definitely just said to somebody, to a whole church load of people, that young people, all they really need is erections. And that is farthest thing from the truth. They need less of those. Oh man, that's a good one. Okay, all right, another story. Okay, so from you guys, we can go either. Uh, what can we do? We can either go football. We can either go. Uh, we could do another church one. We could do another speaking event. We could do family. I mean, you guys let me know, and we'll go to that. We'll go to that story. I'll wait a couple of seconds for you. Okay, we got a viewer on YouTube. This is good. We're working our way up, starting from the bottom, and now we're here. Okay, I'm going to do a personally embarrassing story again, but this one goes, I think it was about 13 or 14 years old. 13 years old? No, it was like one of those weird ages where it's like kind of appropriate, but not. So, like, I was at this camp called Ottawa Valley Pentecostal Camp. Bye bye, Alexandre. Have a good night, my man. And I was at this. It's a camp up near. It's a past. You go past Arnprior. You go through Cobden, and then like between Cobden and Pembroke, there's this camp, and it's situated on Muskrat Lake, which is an awesome fishing lake. It's got many species in there. Not that anyone needs to know, but I know my parents are there. So we are there, and that's where we went every summer. We go to this camp, and where my parents' trailer was at this particular time was right above where the beach is, where everybody comes like after like once lunchtime, the sun comes up, everyone goes down to the beach. So they have like some youth programs, kid programs, all that kind of stuff. And so I did the youth program or whatever, just like I'm pretty sure it was a youth program, but I think I was like kind of just allowed to be at the youth program at that point in time. And again, remember, I'm like 12, 13, so like almost understandable, but almost inappropriate, right? And I wanted to get down to the beach because at the beach it was like they had boats and stuff, like it was a dock with all these boats, and the lineups would get really long, like because they would some of the boats would do like tubing and skiing and stuff like that, and they would take everybody. So I was like, okay, well, if I get down there faster, then I'll at least I might be able to have a chance to get like 2 runs today. If I got 2 runs, I knew it was a deal. I mean, I was getting good that day. I was getting better. And so I would like my mom and dad and a couple of my siblings like lived inside the trailer, and me and my older brother, we like lived outside in 2 separate tents. So he had a tent, I had a tent. Because also, like a lot of times, I wake up in the middle of the morning, like early morning, like I'm talking 4:35, and I go fishing or whatever. Um, and so I was like, I didn't want to go in the tent because if you ever try to change in a tent, it's like the worst thing to do because the ceiling inside the tent, and I changed outside the tent because I didn't think anyone would see it. I didn't think anyone was around, and I had no clue because I was so excited to get down. I wanted to get in the line early so I could take two skiing, like at least go water skiing twice, potentially do a tubing, whatever. That's just what I did all day, and I liked helping the boats go in and out, and that was kind of the deal. So there I am. I just finished youth program. I'm sprinting to my tent. I grab um, my bathing suit and I change right there, like au naturel, okay? Au naturel. Puis là, la minute que j'étais fini, the moment I'm done, I turn around and I go down to the beach. Like there's a hill, like so the beach is here, and then there's like this hill like right here. Okay, and so here's the beach, here's the hill, and then my parents' trailer is like up here. Okay, here's my parents' trailer. Okay, is this like broken lure, and then tent. Okay, well tent is right here, and then there's the beach. I'm changing right here. I finished getting changed. Like, and I mean, I got butt naked, like right there. And this is like a Christian camp, so nudity is not something that's welcomed. And and I I when I turned around, I got a standing applause from everybody at the beach, which was pretty much the whole camp. And so they all saw me change, and they really didn't think that was a great idea because showing your backside off to get down to the water skiing. I was pretty embarrassed. Needless to say, I was not in the front of the line to go water skiing. Okay, let's see this story here. Okay, I'm going to read for those of you that are listening to this. Someone had commented, I'm going to say your name because you already typed it out. So, Mr. Stephen Goddard, I said, I had a similar slip up when I was preaching in a large church for the first time in Cuba. I was trying to impress with my limited knowledge of Spanish. And I tried to say that I have two twin girls, 9 years old. Instead, I said I have two twin girls with 9 anuses. Ah, oh. I have twin girls with 9 anuses. That's a Ripley's Believe It or Not Guinness World Record right there. I mean, oh wow, that is embarrassing for a lot of people. Okay, okay, not embarrassing, but since she's on here, she just showed up. Her name is Emily Sear. Those of you who are looking for someone who has an incredible voice, that is her right there. But I got to tell you something, and this is just kind of a leadership miss 101. Like I swung and missed on this, and it's really good to meet with the people that you're leading or the people that you're around, and it's kind of find out like what they're good at. And as I was leaving this church because I was moving to Sherbrooke, Emily decided to show me that she could sing. Thank you, Emily, for not telling me earlier that you could sing because she was smart because I would have pushed her into that gift even. You'd have been singing before you just been singing. You'd be at the front door singing people into church. That's what would have happened. Just so you know, I definitely still have your song. And if I wasn't going YouTube live right now, I'd play it just live so we could all hear it in the background. But then I'd probably start preaching. So we'll hold off on that one. So, okay, another funny story. If you got a funny story, just write it up in there. I will read it. I get lots of people who listen to this stuff. They'll laugh too. And at a time like this, we could laugh more. Okay. I think laughing is always like the funnest. There's a good time. Laughing is what's supposed to happen in life. To laugh, to laugh, to laugh. Okay. Yes, Emily, that is what would have happened. I still have your songs. I still think there was a song that you sang with Cameron, and I forget what it's called. Hold on. Let me pull it up here on my iTunes. Don't worry. Again, I won't play it, even though I'll probably play it live later. Okay, like I'll make a big post about it. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Let me find it. Let me find it. Let me find it. Let me find it. Okay. There. No. Oh, I know what it's under. Just hide the cross. Yes. I don't think that was the right key for you for what your voice can do, but let me tell you, it was different. Okay, Kevin Mayu is on. Are you still on, Kevin? Give me a thumbs up because I have an embarrassing story to tell you about not about you, but you and me. So if you're there, I'll share the story if you're cool with that. Okay. How you doing, Mr. Chase? How are you doing, Mr. Chase? Kevin, I'm just waiting for you on that one. You give me that thumbs up. I'm going to start the story. Okay. So me go so den. So me go so den. What you want? See? Hmm. Also, Chris and Kevin, if you're looking for something Wednesday at 10:30, I'm going to do like this. Okay, Kevin, we're going to do it. I'm doing this workout for kids, but it's not like for so like I have my sons will be there too. It's literally just a whole bunch of like burn your energy, and I will send that all up into the. I'll put that all up on a post about like what to bring. It'll be fun, and how much space you'll actually need. So you can either do in your living room, whatever. Take a picture, send it to me. Be fun, whatever. It's cool. Okay. So Kevin, here's so those of you who don't know who Kevin Mayu is, he is literally one of the. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to categorize you a little more, Kevin. Okay. Kevin Mayu is the craziest Frenchman football player I have ever met. Okay. Like psycho crazy. Okay. In a good way. Like, and so I remember meeting him for the first time, and my friend Thomas was like, "Sean, you got to meet this guy," because I was coming down on a recruiting trip to play at Bishop's University, and here was this guy named Kevin Mayu, and like I meet this guy in Thomas's apartment, and he like first thing he says to me, "So man go so then, how you doing, Aaron Benson?" And I'm like, who is this? Matt Gardner. I just finished talking about um, OVPC and wanting to water ski and changing naked in front of the the beach. You missed that story, but you can scroll back and check that. Okay, so there's Kevin. I go in, and this guy goes, "So me go so then." I'm like, okay." I'm like, and Thomas was like, "Yo, yeah, he's like that, Sean. He's like that. He's cool though. He's cool though. He's cool though." I'm like, "Oh, he's cool though," and and then and then Kevin like he left the apartment and he comes back in like I guess because there's a couple apartments around there and everyone's like friends. I didn't know anything about Bishop at that time, so I see basically everyone's apartment. And so Kevin comes back around and he's like, "Yo, have you ever seen a white guy with a butt like this?" I'm like, "What?" And he like pulled his jogging pants like tighter around like so like it would show his shape. Like basically before Lululemons came into fashion, it used to be baggy jogging pants. That was the deal. You wore baggy jogging pants. And now Lululemon's the deal. And so you paint your clothes on so we can see like even your hair follicles, right? So Kevin basically did that there, showed me that I'm like, what is like he's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. It's black, isn't it? Oh my goodness. That was my introduction to him. And the stories that I heard about Kevin and his football career was absolutely spectacular. I wish I was able to line up beside that guy, but life and things changed that. Oh my. Oh man, I was not a good person back then. And yeah, so that was that. That's that story. Kevin, I've just embarrassed you. I hope just a little bit. And if I didn't, well, then good on you, I guess. All righty. If you got an embarrassing story, I'm here with you. I'd love to hear it. Chime in. If you have YouTube, please go across to my YouTube channel. It's Sean Naylor because I want to be able to stream this from my phone, and I can't apparently unless I have 1,000 likers, 1,000 subscriptions. And from that, let me tell. Oh, Heather, stay there. I definitely. You no, I didn't. You did. I messed up, Kevin. You're messing me up here. Later, Mr. Mayu. Have a good one. So, got an embarrassing story. Uh, yeah, I was being introduced to the church as a youth pastor back in the day, and I was sitting on the drums actually at the time playing the drums, and I bought these pants, and these particular pants to fly for some reason just wanted to fly down all the time. And I'm like, why is this happening? And actually, yeah. So I'll finish that story. I'll go to another story because it goes on the same, well, not along the same lines, just funnier. And and so I was there, okay, and I was being introduced, and I didn't know I was being introduced like right after I got off the drum kit because I just helped like there was like for those of you who've never been to church before, it's like we do worship music, and so that means like we have a band and they play songs, and that's what we do, right? So for all intents and purposes, that's what it is. And so I was getting up, and I was gonna like go sit down, and I kind of like reset because I've been sitting down for a little while, and so the pastor at the time says, "Hey," he's like, He was like, "I'd love to introduce you to our new youth pastor, Sean. Sean, come here for a minute." And he just like put me on the spot and like had me say what I was going to say, and I did not realize that my fly was just wide open. I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" And I'm sure that everything that I said made people pause because my fly was open at the same time. So it was probably really confusing for a lot of people. But nonetheless, it went over well, I guess. But it is what it is. Um, Okay, so another embarrassing story. I think I got a lot of. Apparently, we've been doing embarrassing stories for already half an hour. Not good. Okay, so embarrassing story. John, you'll probably you'll think this is pretty funny. So I was playing music, and we're at the song, okay. And so in church, sometimes what to do is the pastor will come back up and he'll say to you, he'll like give you this look like, and what that means for those of you who have never been to church before, to like a contemporary church, so not Catholic church. Well, I guess it was if it was contemporary, I guess it would be that. But so we like we have 5-piece band, whatever. And when they do this, it means they want you to spin the song again. Now, so remember that part. Let's go back to the beginning. So there's this song, and it literally is the same beat the whole time, like the same pattern. There's no fills, no nothing, no changes or anything. And so you literally, it's like you in a war with the metronome because it's one move the whole time. It's like for probably a good, I want to say 2.5 minutes, okay. And then eventually, then all of a sudden, you have to move to these 7 punches. So you've been doing the same thing for 2 minutes. Tap 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 tap. And yeah, now I can do it. But at the time, I was not very strong at this, and we were doing this live, and there was like a whole bunch of people in the church. I mean, so like that's what I always say about people. Like for the most part, you can like not be a musician and when the drummer messes up. Oh, yep, they messed up because it's so jarring. You're like, oh, that's not where that's supposed to be. And so I'm like, "Doo, doo, doo, doo." Then we get to the punches, and like at sometimes I'm ahead of the metronome, and sometimes I'm like just a little behind it, trying to get these punches, bam, 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 bam. We do them like I think about 4 times, maybe even 8 times, but I'm not sure. Okay. Anyways, I mean, I can play the song like with my heart off my top of my head, no problem. But at that time, no, not happening. So I was like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo." And then like I thought we're done, so we're just sitting there, we're just chilling with the song, just chilling right there. Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, just chill, just chill. And then the pastor comes up and he does one of these. And so I'm like, okay, like we're just gonna keep it chill because he seems pretty chill. So we'll keep it chill behind the pastor, and we're just like playing. And then the worship leader, like the guy who's in charge of all like the music, kind of guiding the whole thing, looks at me and gives me that look like he wants us to go up. And I'm like, I'm not trying to go up. Are you crazy? I don't want to go up. Because if we go up, I know what means that happened. If we go up, that means that we're gonna have to start doing what's the word? We have to do those punches again, and I don't want to do those punches again. But sure enough, we'd have these eyeball conversations. He's like, "Let's go," and I'm like, He's like, "Let's go." I'm like, "Ain't going. We're staying right here." And then like he gave me this look, and like your faith and music comes together, and you're like, "I gotta submit." He's a leader, so this is what we gotta do. So start building it back up, and he's like, he's excited. So we're going. I'm like, okay, okay, here we go. Now these 7 punches are about to come, and I'm like, oh Lord, please, Jesus, with all that's within you, help me here. And Jesus took that time to teach me a lesson in humility. I was not ready for this lesson of humility, but nonetheless, the Lord was going to give me this lesson of humility. We get there, and we got to go, pa, 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 pa. And what do? I literally missed. And if you miss one punch on this whole thing, you're done. Like you got nothing. It is over, over, over. Like I'm telling you, it is over, over. Like you ain't got nothing. So I'm like, oh no, what? So and the worship pastor like looks over me like, "Uh?" I just put my sticks onto the drum kit, put them on the snare, and just put my head down like this. And that was the end of this super awesome somber moment that we definitely did not have. So oh my goodness. If you're just joining us, we're literally talking I'm just talking about embarrassing stories because I feel like we need to laugh because we're all like, you know, quarantined. And that means I'm not gonna see you. By the time I do see you again, you're probably gonna forget these stories or you're gonna really remember them. So yeah, go ahead. And if you have some random subject you want to just throw it at me, you go right ahead. I mean from anything from religion to politics to fishing, please, skateboarding, snowboarding, food, whatever. You let me know. Okay, we'll get to another story. Okay, Joshua on the drums. I've had time with. Okay, so this is Joshua Freak, one of the people watching, tuning in right now, and he has written on the drums. I've had a time where my hands just got so sweaty that one of my drumsticks flew across the room, so I had to keep casually drumming with one stick while someone ran over to get. That is priceless. I love it. I love it. Drummers know the struggle is real. Come on, give it to me. Man, like we have people watching on YouTube. This is crazy. Again, if you want to go into YouTube, you can go give me a subscription because I want to do these with my phone. Again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have to have 1,000 likes, 1,000 subscribers. And my other channel has that, but I have lost access to that channel. So there it is. And if you want to support what I'm doing, the work I'm doing in the area, you could go. There is a tax deductible donation link at the top. Go ahead, knock yourself out. It has to be more than $20. It doesn't come right to me. Trust me, it doesn't go to the organization that I work for, and they regulate everything. But it helps for the cost of things that they have to do. How you doing, Mrs. Chandler? How you doing? We're talking about embarrassing stories. So if you have any, holla at your boy. Let me know. Okay? Not that I don't even know why I made it sound like I was like a gangster because definitely not anymore. So yeah. Hey, Mitch, by the way, what do you think of this brand? Okay, good. Another embarrassing story. We going family? Is that what we're doing? We're going back to family, or we're going to personal life? I guess it's the same, but we could do that. How you doing, Mr. Trinidad? You chimed in for embarrassing stories. Legitimately, that's why you're here. Okay, fine. Embarrassing story. All right, fair enough. Since you're here, Mr. Rodney, you will have a little closer affinity to the person I'm about to talk to. So it involves William Graham from the Billy Graham Evangelist Association. Back in the day, I was a part of an event called Rock the River. Oh yes, sir. It does a trick. I mean, it does. I was part of this event called Rock the River in Ottawa. That was 2000, and I want to say uh, mm, like 7 to 8 years ago, 7 8 years ago, and whenever they were in Ottawa. And Rodney, you can help me out with that if you know. And so they do these things where they like kind of bring people down, and so you kind of like build things in. And so this William Graham was coming to town. He was going to do his I think festivals or I forget what they call them, but he was going to do his thing. And so we have to go to from my church, for the people I worked for, they're like, you have to go to these things. You got to show face and get to know what's going on and should we be a part of it? Blah 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 blah. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I went with this guy and we showed up late, but he walked in from a different area than I walked into, and I walked in from another area. So when I walked in from the other area, we weren't sitting near each other. So I kind of sat down random, kind of got to know the guy beside me, kind of knew him, at least saw his face, whatever. And then these two other gentlemen sit beside me, no problem. And these guys start talking forever and ever and ever and ever. They're doing their thing, whatever. It's cool. I'm just like, I was a little saturated at that point in time. So okay, there you go. It's September 29th to 30th, 2012. That's why you're here, Rodney. Everybody, Rodney's from Australia. He is quarantined on an island right now. And so there he is. Okay, so I'm sitting in this meeting. hearing these people talk, and like my friend that I was with, it was like over at the other side of the room, and we're like texting because that's what we do back then. We were texting just to kind of keep ourselves in the game. It was like, I don't know, we're going an hour, 2 or 3 or something like that. I don't know. It was as long. And I had eaten some food before going, and so I'm sitting beside these two gentlemen or whatever, and it was like an older gentleman. Like it was he was a younger gentleman, okay, and so there's a younger gentleman beside me, well, younger than me, well, older than me, but younger than what I assumed William Graham looked like. When I thought William Graham, this guy would look like he had white hair, and he was just like, fire of God, and I thought that was who he was. Like I thought that's what I pictured Billy Graham. That's what happened. I pictured Billy Graham in my head. And so my friend's talking to me. He's like, yo, he's like, well, he's talking smack. And then I just said, hey, yo, you farted, didn't you? He's like, no, I didn't. I said, okay, because I did. I was hoping you did so I could blame the smell on you. He said, yo, you just farted on William Graham. I'm like, nah, I didn't, be. I didn't fart on William Graham. You crazy. You crazy. And then, like, I mean, honestly, within like 10 seconds, they're like, and we'd like to bring up William Graham. And William goes to stand up. He is the guy sitting beside me who I have just farted on. And it was not a fart that you could miss out. Like it was clearly a fart. Like probably, it's in the, you just smell it in the air. So he stood up, I grabbed his arm and sat him down and said, you are not William Graham. He looked at me with a look of death. I was like, ooh, I'm in trouble. I guess I'm being removed from this thing. Lo and behold, I am now not removed from that. I am involved in it. My goodness, crazy. That was that story. Okay, Blaine, you're there. Embarrassing stories we're talking about. Okay, so since you're here, you gave me an idea. I know, right, Rodney? Oh man. Okay. Hilarious story. Blaine, if you're there, give me a thumbs up and I'll share the embarrassing story from once we hung out, okay? Back in the day. And if not, I'll get on to another hilarious story. By the way, people, don't just come in here for, okay, Blaine's here. I got some stories, okay? Okay, so 2 stories, Blaine. So those of you who don't know Blaine Dixon is he is like the chief of the ice of Disney on Ice for one of the crews. That man works hard. But at the time that I met him was, I think, again in 2012. Oh man, it's been a long time, bro. Okay, was it 2012 or 2014? I'm not sure. Anyway, I was flown up to Midland, Texas, and I was going to be preaching there, and it was all good. So one of the events that they were going to take us on, like kind of a thing to do with, the speakers, have a good day, whatever. We went to the gun range, okay? Uh, and we get the gun range. There's a guy named Davis there, and he is all of what you believe a redneck to be, and I love him to death. So he gets there, he pulls out these different glasses all of a sudden, and I'm like, why is this guy? How you doing, Mr. McLean? Oh, for sure, we got hilarious stories. Mr. McLean, I got a funny story for you. So if you're hanging on, we'll get to it. It doesn't, like, you're not the joke. I'm the joke in the story. Okay, so there we are, right? And I'm out there. They take us to a gun range, and then Davis gets up and he puts these like Terminator glasses on. I'm like, this guy's for real. And I thought we were just gonna go there, like shoot something that looked like a pellet gun, and that would be it. And they ended up pulling out all these sorts of guns. I'm like, oh boy, we are in Texas. And I mean, we go to the gun range. I mean, it was just crazy, right? So we start pulling out the guns and we start shooting. Whatever. I shoot a 22, and I'm expecting my shoulder to be blown off because I had no idea, right? I just didn't know what that would feel like. And so we start shooting the guns or whatever. And they say, okay, Sean, you're gonna have to kind of like, you need to, like, they're trying to show me how to aim better or whatever, that kind of thing. So we figure that out, and then they start bringing out the real guns. And then just as we're done, they're showing us the 357, and it was awesome. And when I shot that gun, my friend Thomas didn't have his ear protectors on, and and he was filming, so he was like close by, and so he pulls out, he's filming, and I shoot the gun. And if you've ever shot a 357, it's like, just think of every Western movie you've ever seen ever. That is the gun, okay? 357 Magnum, and shot that thing, and it like almost broke my hand. but it's loud, like I mean loud, and so loud you hear in the video my friend Thomas go, "Who?" Oh, and then Blaine and this guy named Hunter and Davis are just dying laughing. Now, so those of you who don't know me, like I can't hide my emotions or my initial reaction very well. And so Blaine is a very giant of a man. And so, we get to know each other. We're hanging out at this event called, actually, that's the banner back there, Impact Weekend. Tell me when it was. Oh, wait. It was January 24th, 2014. There you go. And so there's this guy named Blaine. Blaine is this like huge man, and he shows me a picture of when he was like in high school. And okay, later, Mr. McLean. Have a good one. Uh, love you, bro. Love you, bro. How you doing, Mrs. Benson? And so Blaine shows me a picture of him when he was a cross country runner. There's no way this guy was a cross country runner. That's what I said to myself. And he showed me the picture, and I wanted to like be, oh, I could see it, and all I went was, ooh. Oh, I'm sorry, Blaine. It caught me off guard because I was like I was not a believer. Now I'm still not a believer. I feel like you doctored that picture up of you back in the day. That or yeah, they got something in the water in Midland. Is that what happened? Okay, so yeah. If you got another embarrassing story, if you have some, you let me know. I can let you know. I got a couple of more here, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. Again, if you want to talk about anything, go right ahead. Just type it into the the comment section, and yeah, I'll get to it. And thank you again for chiming in and being here with me. You guys make it awesome. So here's the story. Okay, embarrassing story. Can't wait till we have other people here. It's gonna be really fun. Um, so it was when I met my wife, which was hilarious nonetheless. Because what happens when you meet the person often is you make a fool of yourself. That's how you know it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out in the first place. And it's like you were like looking for something else or whatever, and you weren't looking. Like you weren't looking, and it found you. That's when it found you. And so there we are. My friend and I had a really big fight, and we just got talking and chatting, and trying to figure out like why did we have a fight? Sorry, like why did we have a fight? Okay, cameraman in the conference. Let's check this one out. Okay, I'm gonna get back to the story about me and my wife. But here's someone wrote something. Okay, Joshua Freak says I was a cameraman for a conference live stream online at the main and on the main conference screens. My camera was live and my arms were resting on the desk while I was holding my shot. Something under my elbow slipped and I lost balance. I completely messed up the shot and the live stream in front of hundreds of people. Good times. For sure, everyone looked back and he had that stand up, like, what's up? It's like when the sound guy is like not attentive or the sound person. Sorry, I don't think that's a gender specific job. Um, yeah. So this 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 meeting of my wife. Okay, how you doing, Mr. Bastarash? Uh, it's not often I see the last name Bastarash, and the last time I saw it, was in like high school. A friend named Marty Bastarash, and clearly no relation to you, but same name, I guess, relation. Okay, so here's how I met my wife, and I think it was embarrassing. What happened when we met? So I met my wife randomly at at a church because my friend and I had a fight, and we were like, "What's wrong with our lives? Why are we fighting?" And we discovered we hadn't gone to church in probably about 4 years at that point in time. So I went to church, and lo and behold, like the story is, I walked into the church, and as I pressed through the doors, there was this radiant woman with this voice of an angel. Later, Mr. Rodney. Have a good one. Be blessed, brother. And there she is with this voice of an angel. And I looked at my friend. I said to my friend, "Yo, I'm gonna date her." And he's like, "Man, we're in church. We're in God's house. Get it together." And I mean, I win because I ended up marrying this chick. But here's the deal. So we went on our first date, and at that point in time, I was like legitimate a great womanizer, legit. And so I tried every move, and she was looking for a drummer for the church. And I was like coming out of this old residue life that I had, and I was working it off. So I still had my old game plan. So I try to like, try to pick her up and say all these things and all this stuff. I'm trying to get her like, hey, you know me, I thought I was, I thought I was Don Juan. All right? I was done. I wasn't even Don Juan. It was done. So that was that, and yeah, she thought I was such an idiot, and she turned around and give me. She's like, "You can't be that much of an idiot. Let's try again and see if we can figure out this guy can be a drummer or not be a drummer." And I guess maybe that's the way the story went because I definitely won the day. Suckers. I don't know if anyone's a sucker from that because like I win. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so I have one more story, and then y'all can either give me a story or somebody can chat about whatever. You let me know, okay? And here we go. So, last story. What was the story? Oh yeah, no, it's not last story. Actually, I want to try out one of my stand-up comedy jokes. And you guys let me know. I guess to pull the joke up. I'm gonna try and read it slash do it because I wrote it while I was sitting at a dealership. Okay, I'm gonna have to go Google Docs here. Docs. Lifesaver. There we go. Okay. Going actually to the file of the docs. Okay. I'm gonna scroll down and find it. So y'all gonna have to be with me just a minute. I'm gonna find this. I'm testing this joke out live. So deal with it. So I want to see what y'all think. And if you don't comment after this joke, I won't be hurt. I just know you weren't listening. Okay, where is it? No. What? Oh, there it is. There we go. Found it. I wrote this in June and I haven't looked at it since. But here, let's take a look at it, okay? Trying to sort this one out. How you doing, Mr. Little? Hope the isolation isn't messing you up too much. Okay. So here's the story, which I thought was funny. Um, and I haven't even looked at it, so I'm going to try and read it. Um, and I obviously did not grammatically correct this thing. No, I can already see all the red, the blue, and whatever showing up from it. Okay, so here's the story. I went to get my wife's car fixed at the dealership, and this is how I know people are still making conclusions based on skin color. I was sitting waiting in the room, and there was an old man. Uh, there was an old man McGraw staring at me, wondering what I was doing. I was almost like, "Has this guy ever seen a black person before?" I mean, I don't care, but he had that stare. He had that look at me. At one point, he even leaned into his stare. He did his best to conceal his nonverbal thought, but he was saying, "How did you get into this level?" Because I was at the Toyota dealership. Then, to make matters worse, I was the only visible contrasting person in the place. Now, I get to let you know that the TV, I was in a TV, the TV was not working in the waiting room. This person called me. Then this person, then called some person. See, it's not grammatically correct. You can listen to my dyslexia show up here. The Then some person called out and they turned to me when they put the news on. When the TV came on, she put the news, which was fine. Okay, so then someone called for a person to come turn the TV on because the TV wasn't on in the first place. And when the TV was on, and which was fine until this news story had changed to terrible something that happened in Africa. And of course, people in Africa were causing issues, uh, and some spokesperson spoke about the issue. Okay, so sorry, and some person in see, I really rewrite this thing. And of course, and of course, there was people in Africa, and they were having problems with the issue. And some spokesperson spoke about the issue, which again was fine. The problem was that all the people telling me in the waiting room, "Do you know them? This is news for you, Blackie. You better not mess things up here." They didn't verbalize it, but they looked at me, and then they looked at the screen and then looked back at me. And old man McGraw was over there in actions. But the worst was this woman who was sitting there 3 rows in front of me and was buried deep in her phone. And she looked up for 1 second at the TV, saw the news story, a horrible thing in Africa, immediately turned around and gave me a nonverbal shock. Then this wondering, I'm like, I was like, man, does she think I'm like friends with these people? Does she think I'm African? And to make it matters worse, some random name was called over the loudspeaker, like Umbundi Ungandi. And everybody looked at me because they called it like 4 or 5 times. And I was not me. I definitely have to work on that joke. I have no idea what the punchline is. I'm going to find it. Sorry you had to listen through that. Oh boy. Okay, I'm actually end on a good story. So I was in the middle of Beauce, which is up another 2 hours from where I live, and it is a small town, more of a township, not even a township, small, just small. And there's a big Catholic church, and some person had died, and my wife was invited to sing over this particular thing, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll go, I'll watch the kids. And as we arrive, and my wife's about to sing, this lady walks up to me. She looks at me. She's like, "Hey," and I got my brother-in-law was beside me. She's like, "Hey, are you Kanye West?" I'm not even making this up. Literally asked me if I was Kanye West. I am not Kanye West, and I've also been Kanye West is probably the best one that people have messed me up with. Oh, and John Legend. Apparently, I'm John Legend. I am Jaleel White, and I am, of course, Kanye West because, man, we look the same. Okay, well, that is it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you got an embarrassing story, please let me know. Put it in the comment section. I'll read it. I'll let somebody else share about it. We can all laugh. I hope you've had a good time with me. I've had a good time with y'all. And yeah, I really hope that y'all had a good time because I did. I definitely did. I had a good laugh or two. Okay. Yeah, maybe later I'll share that story some other time. But you guys have been good. I hope to see you. Oh, Tanis, are you there? Really, Tanis? Okay, at least I can share an embarrassing story while Tanis is still here. Okay, and Corey, because Tanis will get this because she understands, like, she knows that being bilingual and the struggle is real. Okay, Tanis, you there? Just put a thumbs up and I'll tell the story about my last bilingual gaffe. And then we'll call it a night. Corey Constantini, the man with the most flexible shoulders I've ever seen. So if you're still there, you let me know because then I'll get up on this and we'll make it happen. Okay, Tanis. Okay, here we go. So here's the joke. Okay, well, not the joke. Here's the story. So I was again preaching at church a while ago, and things are going fine. Everything was going good. Message was going good. People were like, it was great. People are moving, laughing with me, and they're locked in, and I'm saying points, and they're getting messed up. It's all good. It's like good stuff's happening at this message. Okay, and for some reason I go off of my notes, and again I'm preaching in a French church, but I was speaking in English at this particular time, having a translator, and my French was stronger at this point, so I was like, sometimes I just kind of like swing over and go into the French zone and then come back out in the English zone, kind of like a like bon cup bad cup kind of a deal, right? And so I'm there, we're preaching whatever, and I get off into this random like mini tangent, like just to the side of it, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, yes. And I thought that I was saying three guys bounded together, hopped into the fire. And what I actually said was, trois gars bandés y aller dans le feu. For those of you who don't understand French, What I actually said, what I was trying to say, what I didn't mean to say, or was not trying to say at all, was I said 3 guys with boners jumped into the water fire. Oh, man. And, that was the end of my message, and what made it worse is that my wife was actually supposed to, like, she was playing music that day, and a friend of mine was playing, and this is their type of humor, so they obviously were laughing at me, but I didn't know what I said, and at that in particular, there was a slide that I had, I said, "Whenever this slide comes up, I want you guys to come up," and so they came up, but I at that time that slide was up, was the exact time that I had said that 3 guys with boners jumped into the fire, and, so they were, like, trying not to laugh in this whole thing. I mean, it's just a big bombshell. So moral of the story, when you're speaking a language and you don't know what you're saying, shut it. Dennis, how you doing over there in the confinement? Hope you're doing well. Is Juno doing good? Good. Yes, at church. Fully at church. Uh, yeah. So, oh man, what a mistake. Hey, listen, I don't like the road that's much traveled. I'm gonna try different things, and we'll fail miserably or hilariously. It's all good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a good night. It has been a great night, and it's 9:36. So, unless you got something to say, I'm gonna jump out in probably about. I'm gonna give it a minute and a half. I've got some fishing stuff to take care of, and I'm gonna take care of that stuff. Again, if you have YouTube, just go subscribe to my channel so I can start streaming this stuff, because eventually we'll be able to have guests on here, and it's a lot easier to stream with guests right now in this kind of state that we're in. And seeing as how we're not going back to school, well, students are going back to school to at least May 1st. This could be a long one, ladies and gentlemen. So we're talking March, April, May. Eeh. Oh, and tomorrow we are going to talk about this guy right here. The dead tooth. Okay, and we're this about pain and the process of which pain can come and how we should deal with it. At least from my perspective. Again, just so you know that whole kind of format is: I say something about the Bible, then I talk about this stuff. I make an introduction, give a plug or two. We chat about it. It's open forum. If you don't like my opinion, you can tell me live. I'd love to engage with it. You guys have all been awesome. My name is Sean Naylor. This has been Surviving with Sean Naylor. We are at day something 7 of the quarantine. No, technically 6, right? Get on it. Peace. Later, Mr. YouTubers. We had a good day.